Hi everyone. This is a list review of Thomas's Americans, and he wrote an email to me where he sort of explained some of the thoughts behind it. Um, I will say this, Thomas, your pack, what you're bringing, this platoon that you're building here, you're going to have to check a lot of things. One thing you'll have to check is that whatever event you're bringing it to allows you to mix platoons, because this is a generic reinforced platoon with a theater list. Most events don't allow that, so you're going to have to check. But there are a lot of interesting things, I think, that you can do when you are mixing these two things. So that's always good. Um, I also think you wrote something about, and I don't know the theater that you're referring to here, but Thomas wrote something about the um, support officers acting as um, spotters for his mortars. I don't know that rule, so check the rule. Um, and and he even wrote something about them acting as spotters for inexperienced mortars. I don't think that's possible. It says in the rule book that inexperienced mortars can't benefit from spotters. So there's a lot of checking to do, but we can go and watch this list anyway. That's always fun. So let's do that. Here we go. So it's a 19 order dice, 1,000 points. So if I'm correct that there is something that needs to be reworked here, you have the capacity to do so, because 19 order dice is a lot of order dice. You can cut that down at 1,000 points. I would normally want to be between 13 and 16 order dice ish. So let's check out what he's buying for those 1,000 points. Second lieutenant, inexperienced. Okay, yep, that's just a morale bubble, isn't it? Skirmish infantry here. Look at that. 6 men with rifles, 2 men with BARs. That could be cut down a little bit, but it's a good size unit. I like it. See, the second unit here is cut down to a 7-man unit. That is even better. I think if you do have the points left over, buy an extra man for something else. Cut them down to 7-man units. They're just as good. And double BARs, really good skirmish infantry. This 1, 2, 3 of those. Veteran unit with rifles and tough fighters. These are a mix between skirmishers and assault units, so they can push. It's a pretty good push unit. 8-man unit, that's the size I would want my pushman units to be, 7 to 8. So this is a really good combination with different mix of infantry with different roles in it. A flamethrower, regular. Bazooka team, regular. Dodge truck, so you can even throw the veterans into that dodge and have it like move where it needs to go. And we have a jeep for each of the small teams. Very, very lovely first platoon here. Very skirmish focused. Lovely choices. Like it. Second platoon. US Army Mortar Platoon. I don't know this selector. That's why I said I'm not sure about this. They get support lieutenants with trained gunners and gun commander. Um, gun commander, if I remember correctly, is where you get a bonus to snap 2 for guns, or you can only snap 2 guns, so mortars basically. And trained gunners means that you can become crewmen if the crew dies. That is pretty beneficial. That means that you want your officer to be, or this support lieutenant, to be pretty close to your mortars. Because if one of the mortars loses its crew, you can recrew that mortar with your lieutenant. That's good. Remember though that a sniper will immediately wipe the mortar unit or a hit because it is a team weapon. 1, 2, 3 medium mortars. I think these need to be regulars with a spotter if you want them to spot. Um, That's a lot of mortars. So you might even want to run them inexperienced just because you're going to overwhelm an enemy sniper. Second support lieutenant. Right. Like it. And you know what? That extra 10 points, if you take off one of the skirmishers from one of the platoons, they can be an extra man for one of these lieutenants. That means you have 2 men in that unit. That's extra crew for those mortars. Um, Double bazooka team. Wow, that's 3 bazookas. Wow. And more medium mortars. One, two, wow, that's a lot of medium mortars. Oof. You're going to be able to plunk down mortar fire every which way. What you won't really be able to do is there are some builds that this army is not going to work against. So cavalry assaults, for instance, that actually make it to your lines, you're going to struggle, really struggle against those. But against an enemy that sits in their deployment zone, this is perfect. You're going to absolutely wreck them with that amount of indirect fire. And if he has armor, you have 3 bazookas. That will stop anything. That will stop anything. And you have the transport, so you can throw the bazookas up and simply just push them out and kill them on their own back line. Really an interesting idea. I really like it. Thank you so much for the list, Thomas. And let me know if you use it. And let in the comments, could you please, if you know the rules for those inexperienced mortars in the US mortar platoon, if you know those rules, please let us know. Right, that's it. Cheers.